was going to expose. Race is not where the line is drawn.
Wow.
It's
Right on time.
and the other
Hey.
side. It's up for all of them. It don't matter.
It's up for all of them. It's on the God's side and the other side. Which side do you want to be on? Hey, it's the Amazing Grace Sports Network. We are here, and you are there. So let's get it started. First, I want to say, give a shout out to all the people that are listening. I've got a couple of emails, a lot of emails from old friends of mine that are listening. I want to thank you. Don't be afraid to call in. The number is 844-249-5247, 844-249-5227. And that includes all of my fellow police comrades that I work with. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was hard work those years, but it was a lot of fun. So let's get right down to it. We have prayer because this is going to be the fastest 60 minutes known to man because we have a lot to talk about today. Faith. We're going to do a little prayer here. Faith is critical to achieving victory in spiritual warfare. Faith accesses what God has already done or what God plans to do. The shield of faith can also be called the shield that is faith because the shield itself is made up of faith. Faith is a powerful weapon rooted in Jesus Christ. Jesus embodies all the ingredients of faith from its creation to its perfection. The key to winning in warfare is this faith. Amen. Amen. I have Kevin behind the wheel back there. He's hiding, but you will hear from him. And
good morning. Good morning.
Let's get started. I think we have a Today in History in here. Let me hit it and see what we got. That's what we have, huh? Well, I'll just do it anyway. Today in history. Today in history, what we have is in 1934. Yeah, 1934. I want you guys to understand this is way, way, way back. 1934. We have Senators players manager Joe Cronin. Remember that name? He was on his honeymoon with Mildred Robinson, the adopted senator of the Senators' owner, Clark Griffith. While on his honeymoon, he was sold to the Boston Red Sox for the sum of $250,000 plus a shortstop to be thrown in later. Now, was Cronin a victim of jealousy from his father-in-law? Quite the contrary. Knowing that his father-in-law was in trouble financially, Cronin agreed and made out nicely in the deal. He acquired a 5-year, $50,000 contract as a player manager in the middle of a depression, 1934, which is like over $1 million and change today. Cronin stayed with the Red Sox for the next 25 years. The guy was in-house. He was a, well, let's just say managers liked him. The management liked him. He was a management guy. He stayed with the Red Sox for the next 25 years. There he is on his, well, I don't know if that's his honeymoon, but that's him, his wife, and his father-in-law, Clark Griffith. Maybe before he sold him to the Red Sox. Clark doesn't look too happy. His eyes are closed. But then he moved on to another important job in baseball. What was it? Does anybody know what the other important job is that he moved on to after 25 years with the Red Sox? Look it up. Give me a call. This is part of your education. We want to make sure you keep growing each and every day of your life. We're not going to let you just become a vegetable or couch potato. Today, October 26th, 1960, Major League Baseball. Remember the Washington Senators? We're going to pivot right off that. The Washington Senators move. That's right, they move. And they become the Minnesota Twins. And 2 new expansion franchises are made. The Los Angeles Angels and the Washington, D.C. Senators. So one franchise moved, one Washington franchise moved. Remember now, they always had money problems there in Washington. Apparently, they don't support the team too hard. They're too busy passing budgets here. So they had one team move, and another one came in. This was the second edition. And the season schedule grew from 154 to 162 games. Now, the second edition, Washington Senators, lasted 10 years before leaving to become what team? I'm going to leave that question out there. See if anybody can answer it before the show is up. In 1968, October 26th, future world heavyweight boxing champion George Foreman wins the Olympic heavyweight gold medal in Mexico City. He defeated Jonas Sapoulas of the Soviet Union when the fight was stopped in the second round because George was battering him like crazy. Way before he did the George Foreman grill, he was grilling people. Now, who does George Foreman defeat to become the world's heavyweight champion 4 years later in 1972? And last but not least, in 1986, trailing 5-3 with 2 out and no one on, trailing 5-3 with 2 out in the bottom of the 10th inning, the New York Mets rally to win Game 6 of the World Series 6-5 when Boston Red Sox infielder Bill Buckner, misplays the ball and lets it go through his legs. I think we have something on that. Do we have Bill Buckner hanging around in the ethos?
You really want to play it?
I really want to play. Just
all right,
let it just hang there.
Right.
We'll get over it and we'll move on.
Wilson. Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that did happen. That did happen. But we got over it. And it made it all the sweeter when we beat the Yankees 4 games in a row in 2004 to go to the World Series and win it against St. Louis, another nemesis that beat us in the World Series a couple of times. They beat us in 1946, I believe, and they beat us again in 1968, where we erased all demons, as Michael Corleone said in The Godfather. Today, we took care of all family business back there in October of 2004. Moving on, the Boston Celtics. Yes, we're moving on to the Boston Celtics. They've won both their games by 20 or more points. They won the opener against the New York Knicks, and it was a beatdown of epic proportions. And the New York Knicks are supposed to be a team that is a top contender in the Eastern Conference. New York was down by 20 points by the second quarter, and by 30 points in the third quarter. And it grew larger than 30 points. All the Celtics scored in double figures. Jason Tatum had 37. Derek White had 24. Jaylen Brown had 23. No starter played in the fourth quarter. That means Tatum, White, Brown, Holiday, and Horford sat out the fourth quarter. The Knicks, who had supposedly beefed up their roster with Michael Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns to go with Jalen Brunson, were overmatched, overwhelmed, and by the time the Celtics were done, they were overcooked. In this game, the Celtics tied the NBA record for 3-point shots made in the game, and they missed breaking the record by missing their last 14 3-point shots while the starters were benched, and still shot 47% from the 3-point line. How you like that, everybody? Okay. In the second game, the Celtics beat up on perennial losers, the Washington Wizards. And I actually watched part of this game. What was surprising was there was a guy down near the front who had a Pierce jersey on. And I had to remember Paul Pierce was traded to the Wizards after he was traded to the Nets. They traded him to the Wizards. And he actually won a couple of games for the Wizards because Paul was big-time clutch. Big-time clutch. Much more clutch than Kobe Bryant ever was in his lifetime. Paul Pierce was that guy. So Paul Pierce was there. So in the second game, let me just get my bearing. The Celtics beat up on the perennial losers, the Washington Wizards. Nobody's surprised about that. Jaylen Brown led the Celtics with 27 points on his 28th birthday. Jason Tatum had 25 points, while Derek White had 19 points. Now, the Celtics were up 20 plus points by the third quarter, and neither Brown, Tatum, or White played in the fourth quarter. Peyton Pritchard had 15, and the Maya Cadis had 12 points and 7 rebounds in 14 minutes. Now, I have a question here. Was Brown being ignored and Tatum being embarrassed by the NBA Olympic team the best thing that could have happened to the Celtics? Kevin, I want your take on this.
You want to know if Jaylen Brown being snubbed from the Olympic team did more to bolster team chemistry? Well, I think it's too early to tell. I believe it was an unnecessary move, but given the way Steve Kerr managed both Tatum and Derek White in the Olympic Games. Who's to say he wouldn't do the same with Jaylen Brown? I mean, it has its merit, I guess, the argument. But I don't know. I mean, I really don't have a whole answer for you on that.
Well, Derek White didn't play a lot, and neither did Tatum.
Right.
The only people that played less than Derek White and Tatum was Halliburton, and he was injured.
Correct.
So he had a reason not to play. But White and Tatum were, can we just say, embarrassed. It's a matter of fact, I heard Joe Mazzulla had to fly out over there in order to give Tatum a pep talk.
I mean, it was a terrible decision not to put Jaylen Brown on the team. I mean, we know that.
Do you think it was personal? Well, it has something to do with Nike.
It has to do with something. It's certainly not talent.
Surely wasn't talent.
But let's put Joel Embiid on the American team.
Yeah, a guy who can't even make it through.
Yeah,
can barely walk. Now he's here, and he hasn't played a game yet. And how long has that been? 3 months?
And the NBA has actually launched an investigation into the management and player time frame and things like that for Joel Embiid.
It's not going to matter. Philadelphia is a terrible managed team. I mean, they picked Markelle Fultz.
They did.
They picked
and Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons, who scored 7 points last night, played 24 minutes, scored 7 points. 24 minutes, 7 points.
And the Nets still lost.
And they should have lost. There's no way they should win. They can't win like that.
I tell you one thing, I want to talk about the 76ers for a minute. They lost to a horrible Toronto Raptors team last night. They're 0-2, and Paul signed Paul George. He's hurt. He hasn't played, and Embiid hasn't played. He's hurt. I think we're going to see the same thing from the Philadelphia 76ers.
I'm loving it.
Start the year.
I'm loving it. You know what? I don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for Philadelphia. I mean, you could have had Brown, and you didn't want him. You took Ben Simmons. You could have had Jason Tatum, but you wanted Markelle Fultz. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it kind of says, everything is said right there. What else do we expect? Do you really expect a team that knows what it's doing? Getting it to mismanagement? I mean, we talked about Miami. To attack go Valoa is going to play again. Is that? I mean, you can go from sport to sport, but mismanagement is mismanagement. Are you kidding me?
So back to your point about your original question.
Did it galvanize the team? Did it make them better? Did it make them more determined? I'm going to say yes.
In a way, I think adversity and in my opinion, unnecessary controversy usually bolsters a team. But this team had some great chemistry already. They like to say that Brown and Tatum don't like each other.
Really?
Some people have said that. Yeah. Jaylen Brown is a very, private person and doesn't really interact well. I hadn't seen that.
I haven't seen that. These guys are like peas in the pod.
Yeah. But why don't we take a phone call because we have a caller on the line. I'm pretty sure it's Wayne. We started to recognize the phone numbers here on the show.
Okay, let's find out what Wayne's got for us.
All right. Go ahead, Wayne, if that's you or whoever it is. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh.
Can you hear me okay?
We're on, Wayne.
I think you might have to turn down your phone.
Yeah.
on your radio. Your radio.
I just did. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I just want to say my condolences to the Minnesota Lynx team for getting that championship robbed and stolen from them.
Why do you belabor the point? It's a corrupt league.
Oh,
I sent you the tape. Everybody knows how bad. It's the worst run league in the world, the WNBA. They shouldn't even be in business.
That commissioner should be out of a job. I mean, that was just blatant highway robbery.
Blatant. They didn't even care. But they don't. Why should they care? They get subsidized, and no matter how much money they lose, how many bad decisions they make, how many faux pas, misspeaking, just bad behavior they get away with. Why should they care? They're like a petulant child that has been pampered their whole life. They shouldn't care. They can feel like they can get away with anything. And yes, unbelievable.
I also want to say congratulations to Brad Stevens. Again. A masterful job that he's doing with the Boston Celtics. And Starlight 13 down in Foxborough should be taking a page out of this man's book and getting team chemistry together and not being a selfish person and letting Joe Mazzulla coach this team. I apologize to the two Jays because listen to all these other people on talk radio before, split up the Jays and all that stuff. And it was so great to see that these guys hung in there, got that championship. And I don't think they needed Steve Kerr to motivate these guys. These guys, they're not even in their prime yet. And I think they should have a three-peat in them.
I agree.
Yeah, I think you and Kevin are on the same page that they didn't need the motivation, but I'm going to disagree with the both of you because I'm used to standing by myself like a unicorn and say it definitely helped them when people talked about the MVP of the finals got snubbed. I mean, you can't tell me he wasn't better than half of those guys that were on the team. But completely snubbed. And then Jason Tatum, who was the best player, the only All-Pro from the East on that team, they sat him down. Now that hurt. That hurt.
And everyone kept saying that they had an easy. This guy was hurt. This guy was out. They had an easy pass. I think that was motivation enough for them. And I want to answer one of your questions. I think it was the Texas Rangers that the Washington Senators sent into.
That's right, the Texas Rangers. That's right. They became the and then I'm going to throw in the other thing. Washington left and became the Texas Rangers, and the team that was the Montreal Expos left Montreal and came down to Washington, became the new Washington Nationals. They couldn't take the Senators' name because, unbelievably, Texas still holds the right to the name Senators. Can you believe this?
I get to say, big up to the Buffalo Sabres, man. They just keep on winning and beating up on number one teams. I don't know what's going on with my Boston Bruins and my Boston Eagles. We dropped one last night. We should have had that game last night. So what do you think, Kevin?
So Wayne, right now BC sits at 4-4.
Woo.
6 wins will get you bowl eligibility. As you know, as a long-suffering BC fan, 6-6, 7-5. Those have been the records that BC has been accustomed to in the past couple of years. I thought we were going to eclipse that. I thought this team looked like an 8. Thank you. Well. We're wrong, but we're still holding out hope. Still can be the best they can finish is 8-4. I was hoping for that, or maybe even a 9-3 to start the year the way they started the year. Now this team, Wayne, looking at the schedule, okay, there's no guarantee with the way BC's played. They've just dropped 3 in a row. Some really bad losses to Virginia and Virginia Tech. Last night was a close game. They probably should have had it. The next 4 games against a Syracuse team who's 5-2, SMU. 6-1, number 22 in the country.
Lost.
North Carolina 3-4, and then they finished the year against Pittsburgh, 7-0 right now, number 19 in the country. So BC needs 2 wins out of the 4 teams there. Do you think they can sneak in?
I want to hear this.
To get a bowl.
I want to hear this.
To get bowl eligibility.
I want to hear. Let's go.
They're not going to sneak in. They're going to blow doors. They're going to get. Wow. They're going to get those next 2 wins. We are going to get those next 2 wins. I mean, TC got a little hurt on that play when he ran for that first down, hyperextended his leg, and he needed a second to collect himself. But we are going to blow doors on those next couple of games. We are book it.
So 8-4. You're going with 8-4.
I'm going with 8-4. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, listen. That's a possibility, but it's probably not probable. Let me put it that way.
We can hope. Anything can happen in college ball.
Anything is possible. Yeah. Now, Wayne, you didn't get. How about the George Foreman question? Who did George Foreman defeat to become the world heavyweight champion?
That one, I'm blanking on that one. I'm going to have to let the other callers answer that one for us.
You know what? We can't wait around for that. We're going to give you it to you right now. See if you remember this.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
Yes, come on.
And we used to get those fights on national television, ABC. The Wild World of Sports, and Now we're paying out of like a nosebleed to get these things on
You got a
cable.
nosebleed now the way you pay. Howard Cosell with the call. Howard Cosell, down
man.
goes Frazier. Listen, we're going to have to get off there because we got a couple of things we want to cover before we move on to the next thing. But thank you, Wayne. You got the Texas Rangers right. And you know what? I am going to give you a crossword puzzle football book. I have one of these things. I'm going to send it to you. We're going to start giving out gifts for people who get it right. I already know your address, but next time for the people to call, Kevin's going to have to take the address, and we're going to send things like T-shirts to people so that they can have gifts for actually answering correctly. If you don't answer correctly, you get nothing. But if you do, you get a gift.
And let's go D White.
Let's go D White. Have a good one, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne. Talk to you, man.
Thank you, Kevin. Bye.
I want to move on to something. We could belabor the Celtics. They're unbeatable, and I think that did galvanize them. But I want to talk about LeBron James and his son, the Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers, who are actually 2-0, are unceremoniously sending Bronny to the G League. Yeah, I think he's only had one rebound.
That's a shame.
He's only had one rebound the whole time he's been on the team, and how many minutes he's played. I whatever that is. And people expect me to feel, whatever about. I'm going to tell you something. If there was ever a question about how low a father could go to boost his ego, the answer was found in LeBron James. This contrived carnival show did not help Bronny at all, and it was never meant to help Bronny in his career or in anything that has to do with Bronny James. LeBron, he could care less about Bronny as his son, much less as a person. The kid is just a means to an end. Now, this kid had a heart attack. That's right. He had a heart attack just 2 years ago. So what? We can risk his life for a couple of more years. We can risk your life for a couple of more years, kid, just long enough so I can match myself against the Griffeys. The Griffeys were a father and son duo in baseball. Now I'll have a legacy of having a father-son duo in basketball. You have a heart attack, so what? We'll risk it, okay? Not a problem. After a game or two, I'll send you to the G League. How that affects you emotionally or mentally, hey, that's not my problem. I got what I wanted. I got to say that I have a legacy of my son and me playing in the NBA. Now, guys, where do you think LeBron got this idea that it was okay to do this? That it was virtuous? I mean, those of us who had some sort of semblance of morality said this was a crazy idea in a lot of different ways. But, we have to remember LeBron went to these Diddy parties. He was a regular Diddy party participant, sitting around with Jay-Z and Diddy with all that baby oil. Maybe greased his brain to think that this was a legitimate idea to use his son for this. I mean, are we kidding ourselves? This is the guy that they promote in the NBA. This is ridiculous. And the whole thing about it was ridiculous. And what it does to Bronny, I'm hoping that the kid gets over it because he was just used. He was just a prop for his dad. It had nothing to do with his career. It had nothing to do with him making him feel better as a person or as a man or as a basketball player. And it's just ridiculous. And everybody who still supports LeBron James ought to be ashamed of themselves. Well, Bronny, hopefully run like Forrest. Hopefully you can escape your father's cringeworthy clown show of deceit and disingenuousness. And that's where I'll leave it at. Does anybody have any LeBron calls they want to come in and go? I'll have it. I'll take each and every one of them.
Just say one thing on it. It goes to show the situation with the younger James. I think it's a prime reason why Dan Hurley wasn't hired as the head coach of the LA Lakers. I think Dan Hurley's someone who wanted more control than perhaps JJ Redick has. And I don't think he was going to come in there and, in my opinion, this is my opinion, people could have different opinions, waste a draft pick on the son. Wasted draft pick.
Wasted draft pick.
Wasted draft pick. Now he's at the G League, and listen, health issues aside, I never thought he was really that talented anyway.
He's not.
So I think it's a prime reason why Dan Hurley wasn't brought in and probably was hesitant to accept. And this is a guy that was going to be signed the record books for head coaches.
Yeah. Money-wise.
But why does anybody want to go to play for the Lakers? I mean, in my opinion, it's not a destination that I want to go play for.
It's a carnival show.
You know?
It's a carnival show, and the barker is LeBron James. He's the carny master. He's out there with the what is that, the bullhorn? Yeah, he's out there whipping up the crowd. Come on, get in there. Come see the sideshow. I'm gonna bring it on down. I'm gonna pass it, and I won't play any defense, and nobody's gonna notice. And the announcers won't say a word. Hey, ain't I great? Well, that's where it came down to. Whether they'll win, no, they won't win. If the West rises up, the Lakers are gonna falter. There's only so much defense that other four players can play, as we saw last year. So, that being said, they're not concerned about winning, are they? No, they're not.
No. Because LeBron's won already, you know?
As far as he's concerned, just put on somebody send him some more baby oil.
And by the way, I mean, if people want to say, oh, they won a championship with the Lakers, okay. You won the Walt Disney World Championship when you were in the bubble in COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, does that really count?
Not when other people who leave the bubble get kicked out, but LeBron can leave the bubble and come back and nothing happens. So that's the state of affairs in NBA. And God bless us. God bless us that we have the Celtics. We have the Boston Celtics with the collection of guys who don't want the hype and don't want the carnival show and put the time in and then leave the facility and go home and enjoy their money.
Hey, Clay, let's go to the phones again, huh?
Okay.
Shall we?
We shall.
Caller, go ahead. Good morning. Welcome into Amazing Grace.
Hey, good morning. Kelly from Lynn.
Hey, Kelly, what's up? I should have known. If I said LeBron, it's like Beetlejuice saying it 3 times. You will appear.
Yeah, bing, it's like an alarm clock. I was in dead asleep, and all of a sudden I just woke up. Bing, 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 bing. It's like a bat signal.
Yeah, well, they're sending Bronny to the G League, and I feel bad for the kid. I'm mad as heck.
I did too. Wow, it didn't even take long. You know what I mean? I thought they waited on it a bit, but it's sad. I mean, Kenny Martin waited. I got to agree with Kenny Martin to say they're going to send this kid to the G League. First, he's going to go down there making more money than any of those players down there.
Yeah, that's another weird aspect to it that gets thrown in like the Twilight Zone.
Gonna have a weird target on his back because those players down there.
Oh, they're gonna want to eat him alive.
Yeah, and I know Bronny James. He didn't want any part of that. I mean, no one wants this kind of attention.
He grew up in silk pajamas.
Yeah, and it's all driven from his father.
Yeah,
and that's a sad thing.
Who's going to be giving up Fruity Pebbles now?
No, that commercial wasn't even funny. Oh my gosh, he could have done better than that. I could have wrote a better skit than that.
It's just it just goes along with the atmosphere, the whole carny atmosphere. But like I said, it was all about LeBron. Does anybody else care? Is anybody else mad at this? That the kid is just used like a prop? I know I am. I know you are. But where's the rest of the world? Nobody's kid should be just used as a prop for their own ego.
Yeah, and I'm surprised the Laker organization allowed all this stuff.
I'm not. They fall in. These guys have no code of conduct anymore, and it all ended when Magic brought in LeBron. It all ended right there.
Yeah, and it's sad for me because I'm a huge.
You're a huge Laker fan, and you must feel terrible.
I'm like, I'm waiting for that ex-girlfriend to dump that current boyfriend so I can resume my love affair for the team.
You know, Kobe, I didn't like Kobe because he was a ball hog, but he's leaps and bounds as far as character. It's, whatever, but unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, it could get worse because they could find a place to put a statue for this guy too. Yeah, well, I have a feeling that LeBron's going to demand a statue before he. As a matter of fact, in order for him to leave, they're going to have to sign off that they're going to build a statue for him. That's the type of person LeBron is. You're going to have to build me something, and I want it in writing before I sign off to go get traded to another team 1 year from now.
I'll settle for a 12-inch statue in the glass in the lobby. That's about it. It's tucked in the corner. See you later.
How about a postcard? We'll mail it to you.
Yeah, but I had the answer to that Foreman question, man. I had it locked and loaded.
Well,
Ready to go.
hold on. We're gonna hit that. We're gonna hit that Foreman button again, just because you had it right. Because
Frazier! Down goes 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 Frazier!
unbelievable.
I remember that because sports back then, especially boxing back then, everyone tuned in.
Yeah.
Like Wayne said.
Yeah.
Everybody tuned in, and because you didn't get many sports on television, so that was like an event. That fight lasted over 90 seconds or something like that.
It actually went into the second round, and
It did.
the guy George Foreman was screaming at at Yank Durham, Joe Frazier's manager, and trainer. Stop the fight before I kill him.
Call the fight.
Stop the fight before I kill him. I'm gonna kill him because Frazier kept getting up.
You know, Larry Holmes did the same things when he was beating up on Spanks.
Yeah,
I think like call the fight, end it.
Yeah,
but, I remember ABC Sports the intro.
And freaking Howard Cosell, unbelievable.
The agony of defeat.
Howard Cosell calling that fight was actually probably better than anything else because when Frazier went down, he jumped to his feet, spitting it. Down goes Frazier. He couldn't believe it himself, and I think everybody was shocked.
Classic.
It's an ABC classic. Well, I'm gonna let you go. We have to do a commercial here. We have to get a commercial in. Somebody has to finance us, and
there you go. I'll enjoy the rest.
We're looking for sponsors all over the place, but call in next week. We'll have another LeBron James saga. There's always LeBron James drama each week, so we'll see what next week brings with as the world turns on LeBron.
That's excellent because you know why? I need a good wake-up call.
You got it, baby. I'm going to give it to you.
All right.
Talk to you later, Kelly. Bye-bye. Well, we're going to move right into this. Yes. A word from our sponsor, or an advertisement from our sponsor, or me reading the advertisement for our sponsor. Hello. Are you looking to buy or sell a house? Are you looking to rent or lease an apartment or condo? Are you looking for a company to manage your real estate property so that you don't have to? Well, look no further than Oyama Investments. Whether in Boston or Brookline, the North Shore or the South Shore, Oyama Investments has over 20 years of experience in buying, selling, renting, and leasing real estate as well as real estate management. Find them online at Oyama, O-Y-A-M-A Investments Limited. That's Oyama, O-Y-A-M-A Investments Limited, or give them a call at 617-221-8881. That's 617-221-8881. That would finish off our Celtics. They sponsor our Celtics section. We're going to move on to the Patriots.
Celtics in action tonight, too, by the way. They're in Detroit against the Pistons.
Oh, God, that's win number 3. Just rack it up. Anybody win I don't bet, so let's not get it crazy. I don't bet it. No. But it's just a normal saying that you want to bet against them at your own risk. I would bet you that the Celtics win this game, and they will win it by 20 points. This would be the third game that they win by 20 points or more. I would take that action if I were you. If I was a bet man and you have that option, take that action. It's probably at 50-1. Plunk down whatever you got, and you get 50 times that.
Favored by 13.5 tonight in Detroit.
Well, I'd take that one and see if you can get even more for going to 20. I have a feeling they might make that because me and Kevin were pretty good with our picks, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. But right now, we're going to talk about the New England Patriots. And as I said, this is the fastest 60 minutes known to man, and we're moving on to the Patriots. The New England Patriots,
unfortunately, are
now 1-6, and they could be 1-7 by tomorrow. Later tomorrow, not by this time tomorrow. Okay, halfway through the season. It is halfway through the season. They're tied for the worst record in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, this is like Groundhog Day again and again and again. It's just coming around. Now, if they were drafting today, they would be drafted number 1 because even though they're tied for the worst record, they're actually worse than the team they're tied with, if that's possible. But I guess it is. I got to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, The number is 844-249-5247. 844-249-5247. Does anybody have any confidence that if the Patriots drafted today and had the number 1 draft pick, they would know what to do with it? They would have the confidence to know it. You would have the confidence in them that they would know to. I want to hear from you Patriots fans. Let me know. Okay? I'm throwing that out to the callers. And I'm going to meander around for a little bit. And if nobody calls, we're going to move on to the predictions. But if you're listening, 844-249-5247, let me know if you have any confidence that the Patriots will do the right thing with the pick, whatever the right thing might be. You can tell me what that is. I'll be glad to entertain that thought of whatever the right thing might be. But do you have any confidence that they could do something with the pick to turn it around from where they're at now? 1-6, soon to be 1-7 against the Jets, according to my predictions. What do you think about that, Kevin?
Well,
there's a lot. He wasn't expecting this.
There's a lot to unpack. And as someone who picked the Patriots to beat Jacksonville last week, we liked what we saw in the first quarter of the game, right?
Well,
but it fell apart soon after.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
There's no doubt there's talent there, and there's ability from Drake May. I've said that before, and I think we saw that on display in the game in London last week. The weapons surrounding him and the offensive line, it's horrible. It really is bad. And the whole situation now with Gerard Mayo, coming out and saying that his team is soft. That is now the headline. Not the Patriots' poor play.
No.
Because we know that.
We know that.
Now it's the head coach, first-year head coach, who a lot of people say should be gone after year 1. I think the jury's still out on that. But getting closer to a decision. Saying his players are soft. They have Bill Belichick coming and criticizing his former player and former player, former assistant, de facto defensive coordinator under him for a few years.
Yeah, what did Bill say?
Bill said this is the best defense against the run last year, and then he name dropped several players. Basically, saying that Christian Gonzalez didn't play at all last year. He's been a good player, and he has. Basically, all but condemning his protege. Were very rare for Bill to do, but now he's in a position to do it.
And he can do it, and he did it.
Was Gerard Mayo, in your opinion, right to say that this team is soft?
No. I think a lot more blame, and I think Gerard Mayo is the wrong coach, but I think more blame has to be assessed to Elliott Wolf. And I've been saying this since they made the draft pick.
Yes, you have.
That we keep walking around with these players and the coach, but the offensive line is got to be the worst in football, and they knew this. And he's the general manager. He is supposed to address this. It got even worse at training camp when it was revealed to them that it was even worse than what anybody thought, and they still did not address it. And here we are, 7 games into the season, going to the 8th, and whoever you put back there is putting their life on the line, going back there to play football. So the team is what it is. The offensive line is what it is. It's the worst in football, and it's the general manager's fault, not the coaches. The coaches can't do anything with this. They're not going to block. You got to get some talent in there that can block, and it lies at the foot of Elliott Wolf, and I'm not going to get invited to any Kraft parties anytime soon. I love you, Robert Kraft. Really, I do. But you got to get on Elliott Wolf if you want this thing to change. That includes you too, Jonathan. Something's got to be done here. It's ridiculous that Drake May is going to possibly get hurt in the near future about this. So I'll just leave it at that. Nobody called on that. Let's move on to our picks for.
So I'll give you the full quote what Belichick said, because you asked me to. He said he was on Pat McAfee's show. Defensively, the Patriots led the league last year in rushing defense. Yards per carry, number 1 in the league. And this year, they're way down in the 20s somewhere. It's the same guys. And he added, I'm kind of hurt for those guys because to call them soft, they're not soft. I feel bad for the defensive players on that one because those guys, that's a tough group. Those guys are all tough players. Not to mention the defenses struggle this year. The offensive line we talked about, sitting 26th in the league. Pressure rate, one of the worst.
Just 26? Do you mean there's 6 teams worse than
Surprising.
them? The Carolina, I'm not going to get into it. We're just going to leave it right there. Bill, thanks for the comments, Bill, but a little bit too late. A little too late.
So if you're the head coach, for a day. Excuse me, not head coach, GM of the day. Say they call you up and say Clay Morris is going to replace Elliott Wolf. What's the first thing you do as GM? Do you address the coaching or do you address the talent on the field?
I address the talent on the field. That's my job. It's up to the coaches to make the talent on the field get the job done. But the first thing we got to do is we have to get the talent on the field as a GM, and that has not been done. They stood pat on defense. They did nothing on offense as far as the offensive line. They regressed, and that needs to be addressed right there, and he should be held accountable. There was no reason to draft Joe Milton if you were going to draft Drake May. You should have spent that on another offensive lineman. As a matter of fact, as many offensive linemen as you could have got to shore it up, and you didn't do it. You blew it. You dropped the ball. And I'm going to move on to season, what we picked last week, because
he just wants to hear this because he did better than me.
Winner, chicken dinner. That would be me. Yes, I beat Kevin. Kevin was 13-0 the week before. I was 11-2.
Right every week.
Yeah. But this week, I showed the young whippersnapper what us old people can do. And that's what us old people have. We have experience. Jacksonville. What was our picks? Let's see. Let's get this right. Okay, here we go.
So according to our math here, I was 10-4 and you were 11-3. So not much of a difference. The only difference was you took Seattle to beat Atlanta, took Atlanta home, and Seattle, coming off 3 losses in a row, beat Atlanta.
Yeah,
but we were similar, and with the exception of I took the Patriots, unfortunately.
That's right. You took the Patriots,
and you took Jacksonville.
And
I took Detroit,
and I took Minnesota.
in a really great game, by the way. That was a great one.
I could have went.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But we were both wrong on the
Arizona.
Monday night game, which was a
Arizona.
really bad game for the Chargers.
Arizona and the Chargers. How bad could the Chargers play? That bad. They played. But let's go through it.
Well, and we were wrong on one more, too.
What was that?
Jets and Steelers. We both took New York.
Gosh.
And here we go. I said this off air to you, Clay. I said, I'm never going to pick the Patriots again. I'm never going to pick the Jets. And now we have to pick one of them because they're playing each other tomorrow afternoon.
Well, let's get to it. There was already a game played, Minnesota and Los Angeles. And I took Los Angeles, but you didn't know that, so it doesn't matter.
And they won.
And they won. Next game is going to be Philadelphia. I'll go, and then you go. Philadelphia against Cincinnati. They're traveling to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is favored by 2.5 points. I am taking Philadelphia.
Eagles of big win last week, beat up on the Giants 28-3. They've won 2 in a row. I'm going to take them in a close game, traveling to Cincinnati. Cincinnati trying to get back to 500. They're 3-4 right now. Only beat Cleveland last week by a touchdown. A lot of people are saying, are the Bengals back? Are the Bengals back? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be the year. I'm going to take the Eagles in this game.
I like that build-up there, Kevin. That build-up was fantastic.
Are they back?
You built them up, and then you said, no, I'm not going
there.
there. Keep them entertained. I'm going to grab a pen because I want to make sure I get all this down.
All right, here we go. Next game, Baltimore at Cleveland. The Ravens had a shootout win last week against Tampa Bay on Monday night. And the Cleveland Browns, well, can it get much worse for the Cleveland Browns? Now their quarterback, I'm not going to say star quarterback, but the way he's played, but the quarterback they've spent all the money on, all the draft picks on.
Gone.
Deshaun Watson, out for the year with an Achilles injury, just had surgery yesterday. They'll turn to now Jameis Winston or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. It looks like Jameis Winston is going to start. And your boy, Bailey Zappi, has signed with the Browns. He's been added to the roster. We'll see if Coach Stefanski gives him some reps at all.
Poor kid. He could have made a better choice than going to the Browns, but hey.
So I'm going to take Baltimore. Clay, but we have some time. I want to ask you this question. In Cleveland last week, there was a little bit of controversy when Deshaun went down. The fans were cheering when he was hurt, and the Browns players, Myles Garrett, took exception, this is a head scratch for me, calling him a model citizen. Now, we're not going to get into the stuff that Deshaun has done off the field, but a model citizen? This is a guy that was suspended and didn't play in the league for a number of years because of what happened, and he's lucky he's back here now?
Well, I think he's talking about since that time. It's time that he's been in
poor choice
Cleveland.
Of words, nonetheless, though, in my opinion.
It's his teammate. He just can't say it's a good thing to boo him.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it could have been something else said.
He just should have said no comment.
Yeah, he should have said
no comment.
Whatever.
Just no comment.
But with a Browns fan, I mean, I think the cheering. You never want to cheer when a player's down, but I think the frustration from Browns fans is evident. You're paying this guy all this money, and look at the talent that he's produced in the field.
Yeah, but they could boo. But as a team,
no, they didn't boo. They cheered.
Yeah, they could cheer.
Yeah.
But as a teammate, you can't. You got to say that's.
Only if they kept Joe Flacco.
I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Shoulda,
So I'm
coulda,
going to take
woulda.
Baltimore.
You're going to take Baltimore. I'm taking Baltimore also. Tennessee is going to Detroit. Tennessee with Will Levis, who has won. I think they won 1 or 2 games this year. You know what? Next time I'm going to have their schedule. I'm going to have how many games to win. They're traveling to Detroit. Tickets are rocket high in Detroit now. They're $148, everybody. Detroit is favored by 11, and I am taking Detroit.
Yeah, I'm going to take Detroit. This is an easy pick for me. There was some concern when Aiden Hutchinson went down that game against Dallas. He's out for the year. That Detroit was going to struggle on defense. Well, they had a huge win against the Vikings last week in a great game.
They just barely eked it out.
Yeah, but it was a huge win nonetheless for them. And now they have outright control of the NFC North with now Minnesota losing 2 in a row. Titans have 1 win. They turned to Mason Rudolph. I think they're going to go back to Will Levis this week, but nonetheless, whoever's at quarterback for the Titans, the Lions win with ease, in my opinion.
Well, you got the next one.
The next game, we were just talking about them. The Arizona Cardinals travel down to Miami, and I wish we had more time to talk about this, but Clay's favorite player is back on the field. The starting quarterback for Miami, Tua, is back starting here in Week 8. The Dolphins need a win to get back in the hunt if they want to make the playoffs right now, sitting at 2-4. You know, I've picked against Arizona, I think, most games this year. They're a very difficult team to figure out. I'm going to pick against them again. I'm going to go with Tua and the Dolphins. They need this win, and I think him coming back is going to spark some energy for the Miami Dolphins.
This is like watching, knowing that a train crash is about to happen and waiting for it to happen. And then it slows down, but then it speeds up, but then it slows down, but eventually it's going to happen. I think I could take Miami to win. Maybe Tua survives not being concussed this game. He refuses to wear a concussion helmet. So It's just a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a debacle. This is a disaster waiting to happen. I don't know how his family's allowing it. I don't know how the NFL's allowing it, but I'm going to go with Miami on this one. And
what do you make of Arizona, Clay?
They're a team that could beat you, but it all depends on Kyler Murray. And if Kyler Murray is on that day and he doesn't have any injuries, sometimes he's coming in, he's playing hurt, and it hampers his style. But if he doesn't have any injuries, if he's running freely that day, you're in trouble.
Right.
Okay, we have New York going to New England, coming to New England to take on the New England Patriots, no longer the Boston Patriots. And the Patriots are not favored, even at home. The Jets are favored by 7. I am taking the Jets.
I'll take the Jets too. Something's got to give, right, with the Jets. How much more can Jets fans take? You know, I don't care. I'm not a Jets fan, but you know, you bring in Aaron Rodgers. Okay, let's make Aaron happy. Okay, we're going to fire the coach that you didn't really like. Okay, you're going to bring in your star wide receiver, Devontae Adams. You know, make him happy. You do everything to make him happy. But at the end of the day, does Aaron Rodgers look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm the problem?
No. Of course not. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers here, but I can tell you this. If an injury was to happen to Aaron Rodgers, and it happened in New York, where the Jets fans were there, the reaction would be similar to what happened to Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. Let's just put it that way. You got the next one.
I'll take the Jets in that game, and last one was against the Patriots last month at home, and Hassan Reddick is coming back to play, and the defense gets bolstered as well for the Jets.
Yeah.
The next game is a NFC South showdown, which was going to be a good game last week. Had Tampa Bay not lost its 2 wide receivers, the star receivers, Mike Evans, for a couple of games. Chris Godwin out for the year. Atlanta lost a tough game last week against Seattle. I'm going to take the Falcons to win this game, and in a really bad NFC South division, I give the Falcons the edge over the Buccaneers without Baker's top 2 targets.
Atlanta is favored. I'm going with Atlanta on this one. And I will take the next one. Green Bay is traveling to Jacksonville. This is a tough game to pick. Let me throw up a coin and see what Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by 4.5. You can get tickets for 6. I'm even surprised tickets aren't less. Tickets are $78. You can get them in Jacksonville to go see the game. The cheapest tickets you can find this week is Miami. You can go to Miami and watch the game for $37. And if you're not, just take pictures, okay? And they'll probably let you in for free.
Or $18 in Cleveland.
Woo, you're right.
It's cheaper to go to McDonald's than it is to go see the Cleveland Browns play.
Green Bay, Jacksonville. Who
It's
you
cheaper
got?
to go to Cleveland. Excuse me. I'm going to take Green Bay.
No kidding.
I'm going to take Green Bay.
I thought so.
NFC North, rather, look out. That's a great division with 4 teams in it. Right now, Indianapolis at Houston. It's number 3. Excuse me, number 3 versus number 2 in the 2023 draft. C.J. Stroud versus Anthony Richardson. Excuse me, number 4. He was number 4.
Wow.
I always get confused with Anthony Richardson. He's back. 10 of 24 last week. We talked a little bit about Flacco. Houston lost a tough game against Green Bay. I'm going to take the Texans. In this one, then I would give them the edge as the AFC South winners in a horrible division.
They don't even think it's going to be close. Houston's favored by 5.5 at home, and I'm taking Houston also.
I'll take them.
New Orleans is traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers. Not the Rams, but the Chargers. Chargers, who lost to Arizona, are going to be pretty upset. The New Orleans Saints are in disarray, terribly disordered right now. Spencer Rattler's hurt, the quarterback. Derek Carr is still hurt. A lot of the receivers are hurt. Nobody knows what the other receiver or what the other person is doing around there. It looks like they're trying to get the coach fired, and I'm taking Los Angeles. I'm taking the Chargers.
Chargers need to win after losing a tough game on the road against Arizona last week. Well, it's going to take the Chargers. The Saints started the year 2-0, have lost 5 in a row. It's not looking good for Dennis Allen down there in New Orleans.
Okay, we got to get through this because we still got
now we're going to go. Buffalo traveling up to Seattle for the 4 o'clock game. Seattle with a nice win last week. Buffalo as well against the Titans. Going to take Buffalo on the road. Josh Allen with his new target, Amari Cooper, hasn't thrown an interception this year. I'll take Buffalo in a good game up in Seattle.
He's going to throw an interception in this game because Buffalo does not travel well, and they're going to one of the hardest places to play, which is Seattle. I'm taking Seattle.
All right.
Carolina is traveling to Denver to take on the Denver Broncos. And I'm just going to make it easy. Denver's favored by 9. I'm taking Denver.
I'll take Denver as well. Bo Nix, the Broncos right now 4-3, 4-1 in their last 5. Hey, Bryce Young is back for the Panthers.
Bad news.
And he's going to start again. We'll see what they do, but I'll take Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
Looking to go 5-3. Next game, Kansas City at Las Vegas. Traveling to the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell is out. He's hurt. Gardner Minshew's back. Kansas City undefeated. This is an easy one for me. I think Kansas City will roll over the Raiders.
I'm with you there. Chicago is traveling to Washington. Chicago's traveling. It's a 4:25 game. Chicago's favored by 5, 1.5 by not just a 1.5. Chicago is in Washington.
No, Jaden Daniels most likely.
Most likely.
He wants to play. He said.
Yeah, well, he better not play. I am going to take. Who's the backup?
Marcus Mariota.
Gosh, he's good for one upset. Okay, I'm going with Washington.
You're going to take Washington. I'm going to take Chicago. We're really looking forward to seeing 1 versus 2, Williams versus Daniels. We're not going to see it, but we are actually going to see 1 versus 2. Caleb Williams against Marcus Mariota, the number 2 pick in the 2015 draft. But I'm going to take the Bears in a good game against Washington. We'll see what happens with Jaden Daniels.
Moving right along here.
Next game, Dallas at San Francisco. 2 teams that are going in not so great directions. I'll take the 49ers at home. Who knows what's going to happen with the Dallas Cowboys going forward?
I'm taking Dallas. Let's just get that clear.
Get back on the wagon for Dallas. All right.
Yeah. They're good to win 1 when they're not supposed to. And last but not least, we have the New York Giants traveling to Pittsburgh. And I cannot stand Pittsburgh because you should have lost last week. And I'm tempted to pick against you this week, but you're playing the Giants.
Giants who put up 3 points against Philly last week.
I got to go with Pittsburgh, but this is a game that Russell Wilson, I know, is going to screw up. And we'll find out real soon if Russell Wilson is back or not. I'm taking Pittsburgh.
I'll take Pittsburgh, too. They continue to roll and prove us wrong, I guess, here. But
we never know.
I think we were in agreement on every one of those picks. I don't think there was a disagreement, or was there? Did I miss one?
I went against you. I went against you on
on Washington and Chicago.
That's right.
One disagreement.
And another one. I can't remember what it is
That's
right
all
now.
We'll talk about it next week.
Well, that's going to separate us. I had to go against you. I can't agree with the youth all the time.
30 seconds, Clay. We got the Bruins in action. Wow,
with the most penalties, the Bruins with the most penalties in the league.
Yeah, they're in action tonight against Toronto. World Series, Game 2 tonight.
Dodgers won the first one, walk-off homer.
Grand Slam, first time in World Series history, the walk-off Grand Slam.
And
the Celtics.
I'm going to take. I'm going to go with the Dodgers again, and I'm not too sure about those Bruins, so I'm going with the other team.
Have a good week, everybody. Talk in.
That's what we got for you.
And the other side.